boys and girls, to Miss Etta's Academic Corner. Woo, woo, woo. We're going to read. We're going to read. We're going to read. We're going to read. Okay, guys. Okay. Calm down. Okay. Welcome, boys and girls. And here we have with us again, Judah Sr. Hi there. And Judah Jr. Hey. Okay, you guys have a seat right over here. And we're going to jump into one of our favorite characters, Curious George. This is a book, an adventure about Curious George and the puppies. Okay, now, what colors do you see? Now, as we have the softback, and a lot of Curious George books are what? Yellow, red, blue, brown, and white. Got a little gray in this one too. Now, if you see this, it says bonus activities inside. So we know that in this Curious George book, there's either games or word puzzles or something. Now on the back, it tells you to read the story and put them in order. These pictures you have to put in order. Once you read the story, you can go to the back and you'll be able to put them in the right order. See, is there anything else? Yeah, in the back, see that? That's another activity where you would put things in order with the puppy. There's a puppy down here. And then training tips, TIPS. And it tells you some tips about what to do with your puppies if you have them. Some of you have puppies. Some of you have some big dogs. Some of you have cats. Cats and dogs are different, so you kind of train them a little different. But that's another story. So, this is Curious George, and is written by Margaret and H.A. Rays. And it's illustrated in the style of H.A. Ray by Vipa Interactive. Now, in the inside of the jacket, it shows you a lot of different Curious George stories. There's a lot of stories with Curious George. This one is Curious George and the what? Puppies. This is George. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George went for a walk with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. And as in always in Curious George stories, we always find out that he's a monkey, he's curious, and his friend is the man with the yellow hat. He dresses all in yellow. When they sat down to rest, they noticed a tiny kitten. Make sure, okay. Peeking out from under a bush. The kitten looked frightened. Perhaps she is lost, said the man with the yellow hat. Together he and George searched the park for the little kitten's owner, but the kitten was all alone. So George and the kitten and the man with the yellow hat drove to the shelter, the animal shelter. But first it said, this kitten is too young to be on her own, the man said. We should take her to the animal shelter where they can care for her and find her a home. See, that's nice. They found the kitten. They looked to see who did the kitten belong. They couldn't find anybody. And they knew that the kitten was too young to be out there by herself. So they did the next best thing, is take the kitten to the animal shelter. The director of the shelter was glad to see them. It was good of you to bring the kitten here. We will be happy to take care of her. George gave the kitten to the director. Then he and the man with the yellow hat walked inside. Come in, the director said, but watch where you step. We have a large litter of puppies, and one has gotten out of his cage. We're still looking for him, so please be careful. She closed the door quickly behind them. Okay, so I said a lot, boys and girls. I said that Curious George and the man with the yellow hat took the little kitten that they found and took him to the animal shelter. The animal shelter director opened the door. She was glad to see them, and she said that they had a dog, a puppy that was missing, so they had to come in quickly. Okay? Every time you read, it's always good to stop and pause and think, what did you read? Summarize it. Okay? George had never been to an animal shelter before. Animals of all kinds were being cared for. George saw bunnies, cats, turtles, and guinea pigs. He even saw a snake, but he didn't see any puppies. Have you, boys and girls, ever been to an animal shelter? If you haven't, that's a good place to ask your parents to take you to visit. If you have, it's always a good place to go back and visit because the animals change now and then. And then you can go to different animal shelters and see what's different about them. George, I need to sign some papers, said the man with the yellow hat. Please stay here and don't be too curious. Now, come on. Once he said that, what do we know? George is going to be curious. Just as the man with the yellow hat left the room, George heard barking. Maybe it was the puppies. But where was it coming from? George was curious. He followed the barking noise. So what makes a barking noise, boys and girls? Puppies and dogs, right? Ruff, 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 ruff. That's good. Practice it. Good. He followed the barking noises and found a room full of dogs. There were yellow dogs, spotted dogs, sleek dogs, fluffy dogs. There were quiet dogs and yappy dogs, and even a dog without a tail. But where were the puppies? Then George saw a little wagging tail. Then another and another. So eventually he did see the puppies. I see 1, 2, 3 here. But I'm sure there's more. Yeah, there's more. Once George saw the puppies, he could not take his eyes off of them. He had to pet one. Here was a puppy that George liked. George wanted to hold the puppy now. So slowly he opened the door. What's going to happen? You guessed right. But before George could even reach that one puppy he was trying to touch, the mother dog pushed the door open and was off like a shot. George tried to close the door after her, but the puppies were too fast. There was nothing George could do. They were bust out the cage. They were gone. George opened it. They were gone. That's why we can't touch things that we don't know things about. Don't ever open a cage that has pets in it. Let the adults do it. Now, puppies were everywhere. Puppies hid under the desk. Puppies barked at the bunnies. One puppy played with a telephone cord and another climbed on top of a cage to watch the others get into mischief. Soon all the dogs were barking. Ruff, 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 ruff. The cats were meowing. Meow, 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 meow. And the bunnies rustled in the corner of their cage. I don't know what sound a bunny makes. I've been around them. I never heard them talk. So, okay, I can't do a bunny. So now we got everybody loose. Everybody's running around. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Meow, meow, meow. Oh. George is like, oh, no, what am I going to do? Oh, no, cried the director. And she and the man with the yellow hat rushed into the room. Now all the puppies are out. The man with the yellow hat helped the director gather up the puppies and put them safely back in their cage. Soon all the animals settled down and were quiet. But I bet you for those few minutes, they had a lot of fun running around, right? Except for one. Remember there was that one that they kept looking for? Who was still barking. It was the mother dog. What was she barking at? There was nothing here but a door. There must be something on the other side of the door, thought George. He opened the door, and what did they find? Take a guess. Come on. You guessed it. It was the missing puppy. Everyone was happy to finally find the puppy. The director scooped him up and said, George, you certainly caused a ruckus. But if you hadn't let the puppies out, we might still be searching for this little one. Then she gave the puppies and their mother a snack. These puppies are now big enough to go live with families who will take care of them. Do you want to take one home with you, George? So the animal shelter keeps the puppies long enough for them to get healthy and strong to go live with families. And what did George do? He took a puppy. So what's if you remember anything to this story, remember, don't open cages or doors without adults that should be there to help you. Be patient and have your parents let you visit and take you to an animal shelter, and I bet you'll have fun. Bye, boys and girls.